Yo, what is good YouTube? It's the Deli, back with another Destiny 2 Onslaught build video, and today we're going to be going over my Stasis Titan. In this build, we're going to be able to spam glacier grenades, and our heavy weapon of choice is going to be able to make even more glaciers as well. On top of that, we're going to also have overshield most of the time, and constantly be charged with light. Let's take a look at the build. Alright, now let's take a look at the build. The exotic armor of choice is going to be the Syntheseps. Syntheseps armor perk is biotic enhancements. When you're surrounded, gain increased melee and super damage, as well as improved weapon handling and reload speed. These exotic gauntlets are a classic, and they do very well with like melee focused builds, but in this build when we pop our super is considered melee damage, so this is going to do huge damage to bosses. You can melt the tormentors really fast, and the bosses in the boss round extremely fast as well. This is a very strong exotic with this build. Alright, now let's take a look at our exotic weapon of choice. We're going to be using Salvation's Grip. Now this grenade launcher used to be really bad, but it got some changes in these recent seasons and it does very well now. Its intrinsic trait is Cryo Cannon. Hold to charge, release to fire. This weapon's charged projectiles create a pattern of stasis crystals on impact and freeze nearby targets. So when you hold your shoot button, it kind of shoots almost like a wave frame. It's like a wave of glaciers, and it makes a lot of glaciers. So we're constantly going to be able to spam glaciers along with our glacier grenade as well. You're going to constantly be freezing stuff on the battlefield. It's a very strong weapon to pair with this build. Alright, now let's take a look at our super abilities, aspects, and fragments. Our super, we only have one choice. It's Glacial Quake. It's a very strong super. Like I said, you can melt tormentors and bosses really fast since we have Syntheseps in this build. For our abilities, I like to use Towering Barricade. Just in case I'm in some trouble, this gives me instant cover. For the jump, this is going to be preference. I'm on Strafe Lift. We only have one melee option, and for our grenade, Glacier Grenade is the way to go in this build. We're going to be able to constantly spam glaciers, and with one of our aspects and fragments, we're going to be able to get Overshield. Alright, now taking a look at the aspects, our first aspect is going to be Tectonic Harvest. Shattering a stasis crystal creates Stasis Shard. The shard grants melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. So this is really good because it's going to play into our build quite a bit. It's going to activate a perk on one of our weapons. It's also going to give us Overshield via one of our fragments. It also gives a small bump to melee energy, which is going to help get that Shiver Strike a little bit quicker, which in turn is going to help you be able to escape or be able to crash into your glaciers to make them shatter. Now for our second aspect, I'm going to be using Diamond Lance. You could sub this out for Cryoclasm or Howl of the Storm. I like Diamond Lance though because you're going to be making a lot of lances, which is free freeze on champions or just any other enemies, and it also gives us 5 fragment slots. Alright, now let's take a look at our fragments. Our first fragment is going to be Whisper of Chains. While you are near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. This is also a +10 to our recovery stat. This is really strong, just free damage resist, and if you're running with teammates who are also on stasis, that's also going to apply as well. So this is a very strong fragment. Our second fragment of choice is going to be Whisper of Fissures. Increases the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. So since we're going to constantly be making crystals and freezing enemies, this is just more damage on top when we shatter them. Our third fragment is going to be Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional stasis crystals increase the duration of this benefit. For our fourth fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Conduction. Nearby stasis shards track to your position. So this is really good. We're going to be able to create stasis shards via our aspect Tectonic Harvest. So we're not going to have to pick them up manually. They'll just track to us. And this is also a +10 to our resilience and intellect. Just an additional bonus. For our final stasis fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Rhyme. Collecting a stasis shard grants a small amount of Overshield, which falls off after 10 seconds. Collecting additional shards adds to the Overshield and refreshes the timer. This is the cherry on top of the build. We're going to be creating so many stasis shards that we're going to constantly have Overshield. Really great fragment for this build. Alright, now let's hop into the weapons. Our first weapon of choice is going to be the Waveframe New Pacific Epitaph. It is a stasis waveframe and it is obtainable from the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon, the Under the Sea dungeon. And this one is very strong in this build. I have lead from gold, so when there's heavy bricks, I'll be able to get some special. And I have collective action. Collecting elemental pickups or throwing a strand tangle grants a stacking period of increased damage. Since I'm going to be creating so many stasis shards, I'm constantly going to have collective action proc, which is just even more damage. But if you don't have New Pacific Epitaph, you could sub this in for the new strand grenade launcher from Iron Banner. Or you could even swap to a Forbearance and run a Stasis Primary if you want. Alright, now let's take a look at our energy slot weapon. The weapon of choice I'm using is the Drang. This is a very strong gun for this build. Since this build is up close and personal, you're going to be close to a lot of enemies. A sidearm is perfect, and I'll be able to take care of barrier champions as well. And we already covered our exotic weapon of choice, Salvation's Grip. Now let's take a look at the artifact perks. There are several perks here that we're going to be able to take advantage of. The first one is going to be Blast Radius. Rapid final blows with rocket launchers and grenade launchers grant armor charge. So this is going to be free armor charge since we're running the New Pacific Epitaph Waveframe, and we're also going to be running Salvation's Grip. The next artifact perk is going to be Kindling Trigger. Since we're running a Drang, Radiant causes solar weapons to apply Scorch to unscorched combatants, and we're going to be able to proc Radiant via Flint Striker. Rapid solar weapon precision hits and rapid solar weapon final blows grant Radiant. Very nice combo. It's going to be kind of like a fire and ice combo. We're also going to be able to use the artifact perk Torch while Radiant to increase weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand and Stasis debuffs. Since we're going to be able to apply Radiant and we're on Stasis, this is just a nice combo. The next artifact perk we're going to be using is Dragon's Bite. Breaking a combatant's shield with a strand or stasis weapon has a chance to suspend or freeze that combatant. This is a nice artifact perk. It's a nice way to just get free freeze on combatants. The last two artifact perks we're going to be using is Pillar of Ice and Hell of the Storm. Pillar of Ice, defeating a frozen target spawns a stasis crystal. We are going to be constantly freezing and defeating combatants, so this is even more stasis crystals, more stasis shards, more overshield, more damage for our grenade launcher because we have collective action. This is an S tier perk for this build. And our final artifact perk, Hell of the Storm, shattering frozen targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. Shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. This is another S tier perk for this build. It's going to apply even more damage when we shatter enemies. A very, very strong perk. Alright, now let's take a look at our armor and armor perks. On our helmet, we're going to be running one Harmonic Siphon, Rapid Stasis Weapon Final Blows create an Orb of Power. We're going to be running one Font of Wisdom. This is going to be a plus 30 to our intellect stat when we're charged with light. So this is very nice. We're going to be able to get that super back a little quicker. And the final mod on our helmet is going to be Heavy Ammo Finder. This is really nice because we're going to be able to double dip and get ammo for our Stasis Waveframe and our Heavy at the same time since I have lead from gold. Now the armor mods on our Syntheseps, we're running double Harmonic Loader so we can reload that Stasis Waveframe really fast. And we're also going to be running one Bolstering Detonation. Grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. On our chest armor, this is always a preference here. I like to change these according to the threat and the activity I'm running. Concussive Dampener is also very good since there's a lot of AoE damage in the game. On our leg armor, we're running one Harmonic Scavenger, so we get bonus reserves when we pick up a brick, or our Salvation's Grip, or our New Pacific Epitaph. And our second armor mod on our legs is going to be Elemental Charge. So when we collect a Stasis Shard, we have an escalating chance to get armor charge. This is very strong because with Blast Radius, we'll constantly have 3 armor charges, which is going to pair very well with our last armor mod, Stasis Weapon Surge. This is a free damage buff to our Stasis weapons. Really, really good. And on our Titan mark, we're running double Bomber. So when we throw that barricade down, it reduces our grenade cooldown, be able to get that Glacier Nade back even quicker. And one Time Dilation. So when we have armor charge, our Font of Wisdom will last even longer. Alright, now here's a quick summary of the build. You can see all the armor mods right here, all the artifact perks here, and my stat distribution. I would say the two important stats to focus on is Resilience and Discipline. And here are my weapons with their respective roles. Also, here's a quick look at my Titan's Drip if you want to see the shaders and armor pieces I used. Alright, so that's going to be it for the build. If you tried the build out, leave a comment down below and let me know if you liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Destiny 2 Onslaught build videos coming very soon. I will have the dim link down below in the description. My name is The Deli. Thanks again for watching, and peace.